why.
All the attention's gone to Crazy Taxi.
I don't
Maybe.
know.
I don't know.
I get bored sometimes, and I like to say and do things. Yeah, it's just, yes, create the data. I hate this. I hate this so. What? This is what I miss about before games went online. Is you just put the game in and it played it.
Yep.
Well, no, there was always. Well, it depends on what generation, because sometimes there was that "please wait now loading" screen that just would never go away like that.
Yeah. And then dealing with memory cards.
Ooh. So is that supposed to be the Joker or something? I don't know.
I'm gonna pick that because I just like that car.
There you go.
And Gus.
No problem.
So, anyways, welcome to the podcast.
Yes.
Last week we talked about the hype surrounding Black Panther, and then we all went to go see Black Panther.
Yes.
So now we're gonna talk about what we thought about Black Panther. Izzo, we'll let you go first.
So actually, let's actually talk some numbers first, because I'm actually really excited about what Black Panther did in the theaters over the 4-day weekend. So I think over the 3-day weekend, if you're counting 3 days, they did like just a little over 200,000. Oh, I'm sorry, 200 million. Excuse me. And with right, yeah.
I was like, oh man, that was a flop.
That'd be a flop from hell, right?
Yeah.
So but no, so in the 4-day weekend, including President's Day, they did I think 242 million domestically. And I think it was probably just a little bit over 400 million worldwide. So as of today, that number is 520 million worldwide, and I'm not sure what the domestic number is, but they're still kind of crushing it. They're actually saying that this weekend they're thinking that Black Panther will pull in another 100 million. So
I can see that happening.
Yeah. So I'm really excited for what the movie's kind of bringing to just everybody.
I don't know if it's going to pull in another 100 million. It's got two highly rated movies opening against it in Annihilation, which I think will pull in some of the Black Panther crowd, and then Game Night is getting a lot of good reviews.
Oh, I forgot Game Night was coming out.
So yeah, so I mean, you got two strong 100 million. That's a well. I mean, I guess they could say that because
these are the projections. So
I know the average drop off is like 40% for the second weekend, so 100 million would only be 50%.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think with another sci-fi fantasy movie opening up, that's where I think like it's not going to do 50%, only because like I think Annihilation is going to steal a lot of Black Panther crowd.
Yeah, pretty much I would say, like, definitely anybody that's already seen Black Panther would probably be more likely to go see a different movie unless they really like it.
Yeah, I'm going to go see Game
Well, so a lot of
Game
people
Night this weekend.
a lot of people that I've talked to have said that they are going to go see it again. So,
I mean, that's
it's possible. So yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and say that the prediction sounds like it's a pretty strong.
It's something that remains to be seen, but it's likely. But I could also see it not happening that way. I don't know that it would be, like a drastic difference. I mean, it could do like 80 for all we know, and that's still pretty high. That's still pretty high. I mean, comparatively speaking, I mean that's only about 20 million less.
I wish there. I hope there's a day that I can say, oh, it's only 20 million less.
Well, I mean, compared to the grand total, I mean, it's not the biggest. It's not the large amount.
Right.
So.
Well, I mean, it's just like you said. It kind of remains to be seen, and but I think with the hype that's surrounding it, and the fact that it's not only has it been getting positive reviews from critics, but from people that have actually seen the movie, I think that 100 million's a pretty easy target to hit. So we'll see.
Oh yeah, we'll see.
But as far as my take on the movie, I thought it was a well put together movie. Of course, and I'm not being biased because I do have some annoyances about the movie that I did not like. One had to do with a particular actress. Not everybody's favorite. I think everybody pretty much fell in love with Shuri, but I was actually really disappointed in Angela Bassett's character. She didn't really, to me, carry the whole African queen thing as much as I would have hoped. You know, so I thought that it was kind of weak in that regard, and I don't know, like from where I was sitting in the theater, like you could just tell when green screens were being used, and like I mean, we're in 2018, like I mean,
for a $200 million film, some of the CG was bad.
So it wasn't a perfect movie, but it was still a great movie. I thoroughly enjoyed watching it. I will go see it again.
What is with people driving in the middle of the road? Sorry. What's
with people driving in oncoming traffic?
I'm a crazy taxi. I'm supposed to do that.
A crazy taxi.
But other than that, I mean, like I said, the movie was well put together. You know, now my biggest fear for the movie was that they were just going to completely destroy the storyline, very similar to what Wonder Woman did. Well, and when I say that, Wonder Woman's storyline just did not make sense to me at all, because logically speaking, it just, you know, things just did not line up the way that they were, you know, kind of portraying it in the movie. But still, you know, people ranted and raved about the movie in that regard. So even with turning a blind eye to that, I was hoping that Black Panther wasn't another Wonder Woman movie where it was just average, but people are hyping it up to be the greatest movie of all times. Which, you know, I wouldn't, you know, agree with. So, but yeah, I enjoyed it. You know, what were your thoughts on it?
I liked it a lot. I actually would stick with my rating from the last episode as you know, a solid 8. There were a couple things that did seem odd to me in the movie. You know, stuff that you said. I'd never thought about the Angela Bassett thing, just because she was barely on screen.
Right.
It was basically she just didn't really convey the character for you very well. Is that what it was? Because I mean, her acting wasn't bad, but I mean, I guess like I said, I didn't really notice it just because she barely had any screen time.
Right.
So I really don't have any thoughts on her performance. But you know, if it doesn't, you know, if it's one of those things, you just don't connect sometimes.
I would just like to point out, I just picked up a black man and it's sending me to a fried chicken place.
Oh, Japan.
I'm just kind of like
crazy taxi. Yeah, but everything else that you said, like where some of the CG wasn't that great.
Right.
It was weird, especially since it's 2018 and this is a $200 million movie.
Right.
Or whatever the
actual budget.
Whatever the budget was.
That's $200 million.
Was it $200 million?
I think it was 240 to be exact. But
okay.
Yeah, $200 million movie.
Okay. So they've pretty much made that money back.
Oh, easily. Well, even if it flopped domestically, I mean,
I was actually surprised internationally how well it did.
Well, it's not even it's far from even done yet, because the movie hasn't even premiered in Japan or China yet.
Oh, really?
And China is the biggest driver, historically of movies that come out of the States. So it's gonna be interesting.
Really racist.
Well, so once again, if we take China, even if we took China out of the equation and nobody in China saw the movie, it still did very well.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I will actually, because Star Wars flopped in China, I'm actually interested to see how well or how bad Black Panther will do in China. Just because I think Hollywood is overestimating the Chinese market to the point to where, like, the character Rose in Star Wars, I guarantee you, she was cast as an Asian to appeal to the Chinese market, because that's what Hollywood's been doing now. Like, a lot of their blockbusters will have scenes that take place in China. Like, for instance, Transformers, whatever.
Right.
Where they found the Dinobots, that was in China.
Right.
Iron Man 3, I think it was 3, it could have been 2, but I think it was 3. No, it was 3. Had a whole freaking scene that we didn't even see here domestically that took place in China to get the Chinese market.
Right. Well, so in Black Panther, they actually did it different. So there was a scene where the casino scene that was in South Korea.
Oh, that's right.
Interesting enough. South Korea was the first to get the movie, so it opened up on Valentine's Day in South Korea. They pulled 25 million alone, which is the highest number so far as of the 18th internationally. So that's kind of interesting.
Nelson made a great joke when it said they were in Busan, South Korea. He was like, "Good thing they didn't take the train." And I said to him, I was like, yeah, I'm about to see where we now know where that train was headed.
Right.
And if you haven't seen Train to Busan,
Great
I'm not going to
movie.
tell you what it is. Just go watch it on Netflix.
Yep.
Okay.
Have you not seen it?
I've not seen it.
Do you know what it
Oh.
is?
I've heard the title. That's about as far as.
Oh, it's
that goes.
fantastic.
Okay.
It's a zombie movie.
Oh, I'm out.
You don't.
You might as well just tell me it.
All right. Well, I'm not gonna there's nothing to spoil. It's a zombie movie.
Yeah.
But no, it's really good. In fact, I saw it in Japan,
Mm-hmm.
and
That was the funny part.
yeah, the funny part is I saw a South Korean movie in Japan with Japanese subtitles, so I didn't know what the fuck was going on, like what people were saying, but I could get the tone of the movie.
It was funny watching the movie with him
Uh-huh.
because he's like, "Oh, that's what's happening.
Yeah,
oh,
'cause, like,
that's what they're saying.
there
Oh,
were
this
certain
guy
things-
is this guy."
There were certain things going on in that movie that I was trying to like piece together just from like, just cues, and that's where Train from Busan does a good job.
Mm.
Like, there's a lot of things that happen in that movie that you can figure out by not knowing the language.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, a lot of shit made more sense.
Yeah.
Like actually being able to read the subtitles.
Well, to show how good it was, the stuff that you thought was happening, you weren't that far off.
Yeah, I wasn't that far off. Like I was.
There's maybe like some relationship stuff and some context was pretty much like the main difference, I think, between
Nice.
what you were, but what you were coming up with and what was actually happening. So I mean, that's how good they were able to convey the overall message and tone, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, which is important, especially if it's not a movie that's native to that actual country, so they have to
Yeah.
be as close to the translation as possible.
Mm.
Yeah, I still, like, because I had no idea what this movie was. I was like, when we got back from Japan, I was like, I gotta find out what this movie was. And I think it was like a week later, it came to Netflix. Everyone was talking about Train to Busan,
Mm.
and I like just kind of like glanced. I was like, "That's a fucking movie!" And I was so
Yeah,
excited.
I'd heard about it a lot.
I was
before.
I was so excited to actually get to like watch it and read the subtitles
Okay.
because it was just kind of like, oh, okay, so this is this. And it's kind of funny when I was explaining things to Nelson, like, because I was kind of telling him, like, this is what I think happened and all this other stuff, just because, I just didn't know.
Right.
Because I didn't know what was being said and stuff like that. So it was really cool that's just how good the movie is as far as just a movie, whether you like zombie movies or not,
Right.
is that it was able to convey stuff without me knowing the language. And
Nice.
I think that is a hallmark of good storytelling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is that I don't necessarily have to understand what's being said to understand what's going on.
Mm.
So that's where that movie really succeeded.
Yeah.
So my take on Black Panther, I really liked it. I'd say 8.5. I would really need to see it again to give it a final verdict. It's
Yeah.
really good. I can say that for a fact. Couple things, like, since you guys were talking fairly positive about it, I'll say some of the negative things that I didn't like about the movie.
Are you going where I think you're going?
Oh, by the way, full spoilers ahead for anything we say about this movie. I figure anybody who really wanted to see the movie has seen it,
Yeah.
given its box office.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure.
So yeah, full spoilers ahead. So a couple things that I didn't like about the movie.
Are you going to talk about an actor?
No.
I mean his portrayal.
Which actor are you?
Are you going to talk about Killmonger?
No.
Okay.
Well, I might mention stuff,
Okay.
but I didn't have too much of a gripe with Killmonger.
Well,
I didn't think he stole the show like a lot of people think.
I was actually referring to the conversation we had about how you don't think his mindset really matches.
Oh yeah.
the
Oh,
character.
thanks. I forgot about that. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
go into that too. But as far as a couple of complaints I had about the movie, I think my biggest complaint about the movie is when we're going back to Busan and South Korea, is when he's about to kill Claw, and I can't remember if it was his bodyguard or his girlfriend who said the world is watching.
Right.
I think it was his girlfriend.
And he didn't. You had all these people taking cell phone footage and stuff like that. Some people on video cameras.
Right.
I really thought there was going to be there was going to be something that happened to that. I felt that was a thread in the plot that was going to be a major plot in the film, and they didn't do anything with it. They were just like they just left it alone.
So let me ask you this: what were you expecting, more or less?
I was expecting like King of Wakanda tries to kill the guy because no one knows who Claw is in the real world, but they know of the Black Panther from Civil War. So I thought there was going to be some sort of backlash, something that would carry through to Wakanda, and I feel there's probably a deleted scene because I don't think that would have. I don't think Ryan Coogler's a really smart and good writer director. I don't think that would have been where it was if there wasn't something that was going to branch off of that. So I feel there's a scene or two missing. There's going to be repercussions from that. Because if you weren't going to do anything with that, other than Ulysses Claw going to be a plot point for Killmonger, why wouldn't Black Panther kill him right there? You know, if there wasn't going to be any fallout from that. So I feel like just that line, the world's watching, like to stop him from killing Claw, there was going to be something more to that because T'Challa overall is not a vengeful person, especially after Civil War when he talked about like how what was
Zemo,
thank you.
It took me a second.
Yeah, because like how he stopped Zemo from killing himself because he's like pissed off. Zemo's like, your actions made me almost kill an innocent man, kind of thing like that. And I really think that was like as few scenes as T'Challa has in Civil War.
Right.
That was a big character development for him, and what I like what Coogler did was he carried that through to that movie.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't think though, and that's where I have a problem with this scene is that T'Challa. I don't think he would have killed Claw anyways. He would have brought him back to Wakanda to stand trial and be put in prison and stuff like that. Because I think what he learned from Civil War was I can't just indiscriminately kill because I want to for vengeance, things like that. So I think the fact that he was so caught up in rage and that he was told not to do it, I feel there was more to that scene. Either something cut out from the script or cut out in the movie. And the thing is, it didn't bother me then. It was like a day or two later when I was thinking about the film, which is why it really bugs me because you know you have time to decompress from the film and everything like that. And you let all the hyperbole, the hype wash over you, and then you really start thinking about a film. At least the way I do.
Yeah, you start picking it apart.
Because I've done filmmaking classes, I've done screenwriting classes, I've done acting. So it's one of those things like I know all the ins and outs of these things, not necessarily as much as these people who do it for a living, but I do know the base process. So I know there's something missing there. There's a scene missing, some sort of fallout repercussions from that.
In terms of what though?
I'm not sure. Like I don't know if it would have been like someone sells their cell phone footage to the news. King of Wakanda goes on rage in Busan,
or where basically it could have been something like the fallout being that instead of just coming out and sharing, you know, their technology or whatever they're planning on doing, it comes out that they're actually not poor. Instead of coming forward with it, they get found out.
Yeah, it's
something like that. I can see that.
There was something missing from there, which I think is on the editing room floor because that movie was 2 hours and 14 minutes long. So definitely stuff got cut, and so that I had a problem with that.
So the only thing that I can counter with that is how often do we see actual news coming out of countries more or less outside of the U.S., such as South Korea, for instance. Did you know that about a month ago, a famous K-pop singer committed suicide?
I actually did.
But here's the difference.
But how many people were? I mean.
But here's the difference between that and this movie. This movie takes place in the Marvel Cinematic Universe with superheroes and stuff like that. A superhero tearing through the streets of Busan, chasing after a guy and getting caught on film like that, that's worldwide news. Especially if that superhero was previously seen a couple weeks ago with Captain America, Iron Man, War Machine, all of them. That would be international news.
But who saw that though in Civil War?
That would be tertiary. That would be reported in definitely Germany, because that looked to be a major airport that's now unusable. So I wouldn't think that particularly would make headlines in that context.
Yeah, and it had to have been international news because in Spider-Man: Homecoming, Parker's buddy is asking him which Avengers he knows, and so that means that the fight at the airport did make some sort of news.
Okay.
So, and that's just my thing. It's like, I feel there's like a scene that got cut or something like that where I kind of wish if they cut the scene that does that, cut out the line, like, because you can just edit out the line where she says the world is watching.
Oh yeah, that's
and you just have him holding
definitely...
him, and he's like, no, you're going to jail, kind of thing like that. And they could even voice over.
I think
it's called ADR.
Well, no, I don't even mean like he has to say anything, but you see he's about to kill him, and then he stops himself.
Yeah.
Which I actually think would have been a better character moment for T'Challa than him being told not to do it.
And that's a simple process, especially when you can't see the main actor's mouth.
Yeah,
you can ADR anything.
Yeah, so I mean that part kind of bugged me. Also, I feel there was a missed opportunity with Eric Killmonger, just because I think there was a better story to be told with him after we saw the whole movie and get the picture, because I kind of figured he was that kid playing basketball, because it was like, I even said this to Nelson, like when we were watching it, I was like, I bet that's Killmonger, because the little boy they got to play young Killmonger looked like a young version of Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
Like, if it came out that that's like his cousin or little brother or something like that, not surprised me. Or even son maybe, because Michael B. Jordan's about our age.
He's 31.
Okay, yeah, that kid looked to be maybe 8. So he could be. You don't know. But it doesn't matter.
Not speculating.
Yeah, if it turned out that kid was somehow related to him, I would not be shocked, just because, God, that looked a lot like him.
Yeah.
But I feel once, like, there was the story there, he grew up, his father was killed, he grew up hating Wakanda. That's one story. But then when we go later in the movie and Bilbo Baggins says, oh, he's one of us, which means he rose up through the Army, the Special Forces, CIA. I don't think he would be the same person that his character is if he went through all of that. Or if he was still, and I talked about this with Devin, or if he was still somebody with vengeance. I feel just going through all the clearance and everything like that he's gone through, he'd either have to be one hell of an actor for none of that to pop up on a psych profile or anything like that, or he would have been found out. So I feel like a missed opportunity with him would have been, like, that he just wanted to take over Wakanda because he built himself up. Like, he could say, like, no, this isn't right, that you're born into this and you think you're better than us. I was left fatherless because of your father, and look what I did with my life. I raised myself up to be a better warrior, a better person than you. Like, I felt like there was kind of a missed opportunity with this character once we learned he was CIA, Special Forces. Like, if they would have just gone with, you know, orphan kid left there by T'Chaka, and he just wanted to seek vengeance, that's one story that could have been told. And it still would have been the same story, basically. But finding out that he became Special Forces, then he became a CIA agent, like a deep cover CIA agent, it's kind of like, man, we didn't have to give him this whole villainous turn. Like, we could have still had him be the bad guy, but not a psychopathic or a sociopathic murderer, too.
Yeah.
Well, so I think that the reason why it wasn't portrayed in that sense is because you wouldn't, because in that point you wouldn't be able to relate to the character Killmonger. For me, like, I mean, I think that with the way that they portrayed him, it kind of left you wondering, well, is he really a bad guy? Because, you know, logically, being black, I mean, I see his point. I understand, like, I mean, why, you know, with the resources that Wakanda has, but they chose to stay secluded and not be involved, while blacks, I'll say worldwide, but more prominently in the United States, were being, you know, harassed and killed for, or locked away for things that they may or may not have been doing. Like, that's real. You know what I mean? So
here's the ultimate sin of Wakanda, though. In this fictional universe, they were complacent with slavery. They could have stopped it.
Well, so that was that was mentioned.
Yeah.
So once again, that's part of the reason why Killmonger is.
Well, I get. So, well, that's what I'm saying is, like, with his character, they didn't have to make him so militant. Like, because his whole, like, what makes him a complete and utter villain, and in my mind makes him unsympathetic, is when he talks about sending out Wakanda's weapons, not only to kill, like, the quote-unquote oppressors, which I feel like with his character is a broad stroke, not just actual like racist assholes, but pretty much any white person in power. Not even just white. Like I think like this was a global scale.
Like I don't think that it would have been limited to color.
Yeah.
Because we just got more or less talking about what the Chinese thing about.
And he talked about like killing them and their children. That's where I think the movie failed the character because I actually felt he was pretty sympathetic. A little bit when he like killed his girlfriend to kill Claw. I was like,
I don't think anybody expected that.
Yeah.
I was like,
I was like, okay, we're dealing with somebody serious here.
Yeah.
Like, he's not playing. He's got a motive in.
But even at that point, he still could have been sympathetic. Like if he doesn't give the speech about killing the oppressors and their children, because obviously he was painting a broad stroke with his term of oppressors, and the fact that he's like, let's kill their children and stuff like that. It's kind of like, man, this guy is a sociopath. Like, especially like when he was like all those like scars where like people he killed. I was like, that's a lot of fucking scars.
Yeah.
I do feel there was a missed opportunity with that character because I feel that character could have been portrayed more sympathetic and more relatable. In a sense of if they would have just dialed, because I know what Ryan Coogler was going for. He wanted to get across this one message. But then also, and I don't know if that was him or if Marvel was like, no, he has to be a bad guy. But I feel there was a missed opportunity of making him more of a shade of gray than making him a full-on villain. And like me and Devin were talking about this because the movie basically breaks down to Martin Luther King versus Malcolm X.
Yeah.
Like if those two came to blows, basically.
Right.
Which kind of bummed me out when it came down to that, just because we've seen that before in film. Like, and also, like I was telling Nelson when we saw the movie, this was also a very Hamlet-esque story too.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, man, I really wanted it to be this with Killmonger, that he was just exiled, and he was coming back to take the throne.
He wasn't exiled. He was pretty much forgotten.
Well, I know, but I mean, basically,
and that's part of it because. One thing that, and this has actually been personal experience for me. So back in '95, I had a chance to go back to Nigeria. Now, my parents are full-on Nigerian. Obviously, I don't speak with an accent and I don't speak the language, but
well, you grew up here, so you wouldn't. But
right. So the point that I'm trying to make, though, is that when I went there, without me even saying a word, they can tell that I'm not from there. But
so
then
you don't have a lip
but then you kind of walk away with the feeling that you're not really welcome there. You know what I mean? And I think that's part of the thing that Killmonger was struggling with. Like, in the States, he wasn't welcome because he was black. In Wakanda, he was not welcome there because they didn't pick him up when they killed his father. Like, they knew I'm sure they knew that he had a son. You know what I mean? So he's stuck in this area where he doesn't belong, back where his true home is, but he doesn't belong where he is either. You know what I mean? And I think over the course of some years, that'll play on you.
Yeah, no, I get why he's the way he is and wants vengeance. I'm just saying, like, I feel there was a missed opportunity with this character because if you look at the character of Killmonger up until he says let's basically kill everybody, like that's actually the American dream right there. If you think about it, because as far as we know, his mom was out of the picture. Like they don't make mention of her. I assume she either was gone or dead or whatever. And here's this kid left orphaned and living in the projects of Oakland, which in 1992, shithole. Though what I understand about Oakland now, regardless of where you're at in Oakland, shithole. But not only did he not become a statistic, join the army, become special forces, which is not easy because I'm reading about the special forces right now with the horse soldiers.
Yeah.
And then becomes a deep cover CIA operative, and I know CIA agents. I know that's really not fucking easy. So it's kind of like up until the point where he says he basically wants to take over the world and becomes a Bond villain, which I did equate this. It's not MCU Godfather. It's the MCU James Bond. We'll touch on that in a second.
Well,
let me finish my thought.
Because I did read something in which Godfather was mentioned, but it wasn't compared to The Godfather.
I've seen a lot of headlines. I haven't read any.
Well, no. I've heard like the comparison too, and I'll break down my Bond and Godfather thing too. But like up to the point where he becomes a Bond villain, that is like the ultimate American dream story right there. Like to be literally nothing, and then you basically because deep cover CIA operatives, that's a 6-figure salary right there. Like, and that's pretty much like you can retire out of that in your 30s or 40s and get a contracting job making twice that.
Yeah, but the reality of it is he's still black. He's still not welcome at home. I think it's
also
hard.
Forgot. He's got an MIT degree too. I left that part out too. But what I'm saying is like, regardless if he's black or white or whatever, and I'm not even gonna go.
Well, that's a huge difference.
I'm not even gonna break down into like deep racism or deep racism. There's a place for him. There is a company that will hire him to do whatever, to be head of their security, to be black ops, things like that. I mean, with everything he's accomplished,
right? But
he's already got a clearance. Like, they don't even have to pay for that.
But the thing is, and I think that this is the most important thing, is he didn't do all that to be successful in America. He did all that to seek vengeance.
Well, I know, but what I'm saying is like they could have played him. What I'm saying is they could have played him more as a sympathetic villain than they did, because once he rips off his shirt and says every one of these scars is somebody I killed, and he's saying like we're gonna kill the oppressors and their kids, he becomes unsympathetic. He becomes a sociopath.
He was unsympathetic when he shot his girlfriend in the head to kill Claw. But not only that, but when he poisoned the chick's her coffee or something, unsympathetic. Yeah. Like, did she even have to die?
That's
like,
true.
you know what I mean? So we saw it with the introduction of his character.
A good way of the filmmaking that Ryan Coogler did with that part though is, I didn't think about that. Like, after like a certain point, like after we start really meeting who Killmonger was, like figuring out who he was, like, and that's kind of like the Darth Vader thing. Like, if you think about Darth Vader, again, he's a sociopath also, but the way it's portrayed towards the end of Jedi, you start to feel for him. It's like the rise and fall and redemption of Anakin Skywalker, and I felt I know the line he gives at the end, but I felt Killmonger deserved a redemption of sorts.
He was given the option.
I know he was.
To take it.
But that's them as a filmmaker. I'm saying as a filmmaker, I really wish he was the B villain or A- villain, and he could have helped save Wakanda from the A villain. Like, part of me wanted there to be a redemption for him.
Like a Thor Ragnarok type thing with Loki?
No, because Loki's redemption has been building over a few movies.
Okay.
I just mean, like, because I actually thought Claw was going to be the main villain, and Killmonger was going to be the B villain, the way like the advertising was. Which, by the way, Andy Serkis steals the show in the casino scene. That was freaking great.
I want that SoundCloud link.
But I was hoping and I knew we weren't going to get it once he killed Claw. But once it was confirmed that it was the kid from Oakland, especially when he had the afterlife scene with his father,
right?
I was really hoping there was going to be something to make him sympathetic again, and it didn't go with it. Like, because that scene opened it up more to where it's like, man, like, because the fact that like the dad says to him, "You're not going to cry for me," and he says, "I've seen too much and I've forgotten how to cry," or whatever.
Everybody leaves.
Yeah.
But once again, it goes back to your point about Oakland in 1992. Like, people were dying left and right.
That's what I'm saying. It's like,
so you can't make a child sympathetic because he's already seen way too much.
Well, I know, but there was that point to where it's like you really felt for him. You're like, man, he's seen a lot.
Yeah,
and
as
then,
a child.
Yeah, and then you were hoping. I don't know. I was kind of, and it may be just because I really like Michael B. Jordan too. It's always tough to see an actor you really like play such a dipshit, like terrible human being, because you're like, man, I really like that person. I like the way they're performing. Fuck him. So that's what I'm saying. It was kind of like.
But see, I don't think a lot of people walked away with that. That mindset.
I've actually seen a lot of people quote on Facebook and Twitter, stuff like that, saying he was the hero.
Well, that's okay.
In fact, like
no,
a buddy
that's-
of mine, a friend of mine,
I don't agree with that.
posted the quote where he said like, I would rather bury me in the or throw me in the ocean,
Right.
because I'd rather join my brothers who didn't want to, like, I'm gonna butcher the line, but like who chose death over shackles or whatever
Right.
the line was.
Right.
And he was like, that's a deep line. And I was like, yeah, that's a deep line. But then like someone
But that doesn't make him a hero.
No. That's not what my friend was saying. But then one of his friends commented like, you know, if you really look at it, Killmonger's the hero of the story. And I was like, I don't know this person who made that comment, so I'm not going to, especially because like that's a black guy saying it, and then a white guy coming in and saying you're wrong. I was like, I don't know this person, so I'm not going to.
You're not going to be that guy.
It's one of those internet things like, nope, pick your battles. This is not a battle I'm going to wage, which is why like Devin and I were talking about the movie, and I was so afraid that Devin might say the exact same thing, and I didn't even bring it up, and Devin was like, you know, Killmonger brought up some good points. I was like, oh god, here it comes. He's like, he's totally the fucking villain. You see how many people he killed? I was like, thank God, because I was really afraid he was going to like say something like Killmonger wasn't that bad or something like that. But he was like, I was sympathetic, and then like he talks about how many people he killed, how many people he was going to kill. Fuck that guy.
And he was like, I'm out.
Yeah, I was like, thank God, because I was really afraid he was going to say.
But where was the sympathy though? And in the opening scene where we first see him, the first sign that I knew that he was crazy was when he completely interrupted that chick and was like, nah, this weapon is from such and such, which such and such stole from such and such. I'm just like, oh, he is about to wreck shop, and like he is not taking any prisoners. Like, so for me, like I could just tell by the tone of his voice.
Well, I mean, at that point, like we are meant to think that he's the villain. Well, he is the villain. But it was kind of like the way, and this is really good filmmaking on Coogler's part, is the way like he almost makes you forget about that when you're not thinking about that scene, because like when he comes out and says all this stuff, and you're just like, and especially like again going back to the scene where he goes to the afterlife and talks to his father, you're kind of like, damn, it's kind of like, man, all this stuff, and you forget about the bad things he did, because, and it also goes to the charisma of Michael B. Jordan as an actor. You don't think about that. And like I said, it kind of relates to Darth Vader and stuff like that. At the end of Jedi, you feel bad for Darth Vader, even though you really fucking
I
shouldn't.
don't feel bad for Darth Vader.
But
I mean, the only time that I was like, you know, cheering for Darth Vader was when he was slicing and dicing at the end of Rogue One.
Yeah,
like
but like I said, that goes back
that's
to
only because I like violence.
that goes back to the Shakespearean Hamlet thing about that. It's a Greek tragedy. As far as Killmonger's character goes, it's like he's a bad person, but you can see what drove him to be bad,
right?
And you can, I don't want to say understand it, but you can sympathize with it. You can be like, you know what?
I can understand.
And
I mean, it's not what I would do.
And you can also see T'Challa's anger when he talks to his father again, when his father's like, "Come join us." It's kind of like you left this kid. It's like, had you brought him back, think of all the pain and suffering. Because if you think about all those scars that are on him, that's not just one person that he's killed, but how many lives extended off those deaths that he's ruined because of that. So it's just kind of like all this pain and suffering that could have been avoided if T'Chaka would have brought the kid back. Which also kind of goes to what's the actor's name? He was in Rogue One.
Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker's characters, because like Forrest Whitaker's character had to like, I will give T'Chaka ignorance about the kid. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't know about it, 50-50. But there's no way Forrest Whitaker's character didn't know about the kid.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He was in so deep cover. He probably had dinner with Killmonger. Yeah. So the fact that he didn't say we need to get this kid or something like that, it's kind of like, you're like the main shaman, priest, whatever his role was.
Yeah.
He had
so he was a spy.
He was originally a spy, but I mean, like the fact that he performed the ceremony for T'Challa, he had to have become like a priest or whatever, like a high official to do that.
Yeah, right.
So
yeah, I'm sure that, and I can only assume, but I assume that when he was a spy, it was probably reported that your brother has a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was up to T'Chaka to figure out what am I gonna do with this kid?
Yeah.
Well, leave him in Oakland. He's probably gonna die anyway. You know what I mean? Like,
that's pretty cold.
I mean, like, I mean,
even the Killmonger, that's cold.
Which almost makes me want. I don't want a movie, but I want a graphic novel that takes place in the
or
MCU.
maybe a one shot.
No, I need more than one comic. I need
a one shot.
No, I need more than a one shot.
No, when I say one
I
shot,
know what you're talking about. You're talking about those little movies.
Okay.
No, I need more than that. I
Alright.
need a good. I want a good
3-part miniseries.
I want a good detail about how T'Chaka was king, because if he's able to leave a kid like that, his own nephew, for that matter, just by himself in Oakland.
We assume because we don't know anything about the mother. We also don't know anything
but I mean, just leaving, even if the mother's not, even if the mother's there, but that kid is still his nephew, and he can give that child a better life than a single mother in Oakland.
Well, so then we could also assume that maybe the grandparents are still alive too. I mean, so there are a lot of things that we don't know about, and we can only assume at this point.
Okay, even assuming that the grandparents are alive and the mother's alive, that kid's still gonna have a better life being a prince in Wakanda than he is in Oakland.
Right.
So I mean, the fact that he just coldly left that child there, and left the body there for the kid to discover. That's a cold move too.
Yeah.
By not bringing his brother back to bury in Wakanda.
Well, and it was made mention in the movie.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a cold move. I kind of want a graphic novel, behind the scenes. What other things did T'Chaka do that weren't? Because I mean, it goes back to that thing where T'Challa first goes to the afterlife when he's first doing the ceremony, where T'Chaka grabs his son and says, "You are a good man, and it's hard for a good man to be a good king."
Right.
Which kind of it's foreshadowing to maybe T'Chaka wasn't that good of a person that his kids think that he was.
Right.
And it's kind of that's a story I want to be told too. I want to see what other, because let's face it, if you're a leader of a country, no matter what, you've got to make a lot of tough decisions, and they're not
especially a country that's stayed hidden.
Yeah.
For
you've got
however many years.
Yeah, you got to make a lot of tough decisions.
Hundreds of years.
Let's face it, we've had some really good presidents who are good people, but how many deaths did they order? Drone strikes for the modern military, or if we go to the 80s in the Cold War, Reagan or Carter or Nixon or Ford, just be all right, spy, go strangle that person and his wife.
Yeah.
And it's kind of to be a successful leader, you have to make tough decisions that are in a at best, moral gray zone.
Yeah.
So it's kind of because T'Challa, I've read several Black Panther comics, T'Challa has always been a righteous person, and he's kind of always been Marvel's Batman. At least from the 90s on. Mm-hmm. He's very much been a Batman character. He tries not to kill if he doesn't have to. Mm-hmm. He usually takes the moral high ground, kind of thing like that. But obviously, just from that one scene, T'Chaka doesn't. He does what's best for Wakanda, at least what he thinks is best for Wakanda. And so it's kind of I would like a graphic novel just to see, how he was king. From... the moment he became the Black Panther up till Civil War. Right. I don't know, I think it would be an interesting story because I think the way this movie paints him, he does right by his country first, and the moral implications of his actions be damned.
Right.
Which, by the way, also, the way he makes his entrance in that scene is fucking badass.
Yeah.
Lights go out, boom, he's there.
Yeah.
Also, towards the beginning of the movie, where T'Challa thinks he's rescuing his girlfriend. Don't freeze. I never freeze. And they get back. Did he freeze?
He froze.
That was funny. That cracked me up. Oh, I wanted to tell you, because you know how Jay posted the gif of T'Challa and Shuri doing their little shake.
Yes.
And thing like that, and you guys were joking about that. That's a new handshake. I saw two black women who had to have been at least in their 60s do that today.
I would not be surprised.
And I was like, it was so funny too, because these were two women who you would never expect to go to a comic book movie. And they could be geeks, I'm not trying to judge them, but just given their age, I wouldn't expect them to go to a comic book movie, even Black Panther for that matter, unless they're grandkids drag them. But because it was like my building was evacuated because of a fire alarm, and they were just out there. I don't even know if they work in my building. I just happened to see them off in the distance, and I just saw them come up to each other, and they did that. I was like, it just made me laugh because it's just, and it just reminded me of Jay's post about that because like it's catching on.
Yeah.
And when I saw that originally in the trailer, I was like, that's gonna catch on at least for a little bit. I was like, I don't know if it's gonna be a mainstay, but people are gonna start doing that. Because the way they do it in the movie, it's so smooth.
Yeah.
So
you'll probably see that for at least a couple months.
Yeah, and you'll probably see it until Avengers: Infinity War comes out, and then it'll be forgotten. Because something new will happen, as it always does. But I hear a lot of people shitting on Chadwick Boseman, like in comments.
Really?
Like, yeah, and I don't get it because I really like him as T'Challa, and also the fact that he's American blows my mind. I expected him to be British.
He went to Howard.
Did he?
They were talking
about...
Is
he a local boy or did you just go to Howard?
I don't know.
Because I always
They interviewed like his theater teacher from there.
I always like it when I see like local people like do well.
Yeah.
But yeah, like because the only thing I've seen him in that I know of off the top of my head is this in Civil War. I know he was in 12 Years. I haven't seen 42 yet. Sean fucking loves that movie though. I haven't sat down.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. Actually, I haven't seen that yet either.
And yeah, I found out he played Jackie Robinson in it because when that came out, he didn't pop on my radar until Civil War.
Well, they didn't even show him in the previews from what I can remember. Really, I don't recall ever seeing
any Civil War.
No, for 42.
42.
Well, he plays Jackie Robinson.
Yeah,
he's in the previews.
Okay, I don't remember the previews very well.
So I think Nelson has a point because I think one of the trailers it was just like the number and that's all you really got.
Yeah, I saw like a teaser trailer.
The only trailer I remember seeing is him chatting with Harrison Ford, who I believe played the owner of the Dodgers in the movie. Okay. Like I said, I haven't seen the movie. He either plays the coach or the owner. I think he plays the owner, and he's basically telling him like, people are gonna give you shit. They're gonna call you names. It's gonna be bad. But I didn't know that was that was an unknown actor to me because Chadwick Boseman wasn't a name.
Right.
And I can't like Harrison Ford obviously would probably be the first name up there because it's Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Right.
But I don't even know like I recognize Harrison Ford obviously in the trailers. But I don't even know if they were like really advertising the names on the film.
Yeah, they just I don't recall that at all.
Right.
Like and plus the only preview I remember seeing was like one where I don't remember seeing.
And that movie came out when I was still going through my divorce. I didn't have that much money, so unless it was a Marvel movie, I wasn't paying money for it. But Santa Claus put that in Sean's stocking because like Sean saw it on Netflix because he's just all about sports movies.
That's still on Netflix.
I bought it for him and I got the digital copy now, and I've been meaning to watch it. I just haven't had the time to like sit down and watch a movie at home. But he freaking loved it. Like that was like his go to sleep movie for the longest time. Like leading up to Christmas, he would put that on like on his TV for bedtime because he was just gobbling up all. Which makes me want to see it because like if this historical movie captured my son's attention. Like not like, and I gotta imagine like baseball's only like a quarter of it. I feel it's more the political scene surrounding the first African American baseball player, which, in my baseball knowledge, it should have been Josh Gibson, but he went crazy because he was a hell of a pitcher. But he actually probably would have been because I watched this movie on HBO years ago about the Negro Baseball League. It was fascinating, but like there's a scene where like Josh Gibson is just like buck naked throwing pitches on the field because he fucking went nuts.
Wow. Yeah.
I didn't know he went that great, like that kind of crazy.
Well, that could have been like played up for the movie.
Yeah.
But that was one of the reasons why like Jackie Robinson was picked over him because he was a phenomenal pitcher, and they figured like had he played in the majors from start to finish because he eventually got in after Jackie. But had he been in the majors from the start of his career to the end, he probably would own like every pitching record.
Wow.
Because he was just a phenomenal pitcher, and he was also a dickhead pitcher too because he'd throw at you if he didn't like you. Fucking head. So I think he threw at Jackie several times.
Wow.
In the Negro League.
Oh man.
Wow.
But yeah, so yeah, that and I believe 12 Years a Slave too. He's in.
I don't know. Can't confirm.
I don't know. I haven't seen the movie.
It's sad. The sad thing is the only person who I know is in 12 Years a Slave is Brad Pitt, and I believe he has pretty much a glorified cameo in that. because I don't think he's in much of the movie.
Well, Nakia from Black Panther, I believe she was the breakout of 12 Years a Slave.
Was she?
Yeah, I believe that was her movie that she was the breakout star. Nakia, the girl that was
which by the way,
I was thinking of
I'm gonna say it right now.
The Nikita show.
Oh no!
I was like,
I'm gonna
She's
say it right
totally
now.
Asian.
Bold prediction: Nakia is one of the main villains of the next Black Panther movie.
We'll have to see.
Well, the only reason why I say that is because again, I've read the comics. She's not even like maybe like a minor love interest for T'Challa in the comics. She's a fucking bad guy for like 90% of her comic book history.
Really?
Yeah. Like
Well,
she turns on Wakanda quick.
Hey, I mean,
so
Disney's getting the Fox stuff. They could brainstorm it that way.
that's what I want to see. I want to see Storm. I was actually kind of hoping if there was a love interest because with Nakia, I think her only scenes in the trailers is like the final battle scene where she's in the.
I think that's the only thing I've seen her in the.
As far as the trailers,
trailers.
Because I think I watched the first trailer, and then much like I do with Marvel movies, I avoid the rest of them because I don't want anything to be spoiled. It's like because I know I'm going to go see it, so it's kind of like I don't want to spoil anything in this movie for me. And I also wonder if Shuri is going to get a Black Panther costume of her own for the sequel because she becomes the Black Panther for a while.
Yeah, I mean they have a figure for that. I mean, the comic book version, but yeah.
Well, yeah, in the comics when T'Challa is doing a lot of Avengers stuff, she takes over in Wakanda.
Yeah.
Which is always weird. Like when Black Panther was first introduced, like there was the whole Wakanda thing, but he was like a vigilante in like Brooklyn. It's the weirdest thing. Like his 1970s comics are weird as shit.
Yeah. Well, didn't 90% of Marvel comics just take place in New York?
Yeah. It's like that's how it was. Jack Kirby would look
ground, so.
like Jack Kirby would look out the window. I'm gonna draw that street light. I'm gonna draw that street. I'm gonna draw that corner.
Pretty much.
But I had a point to everything I was saying. Regrettable. But no, overall a good movie. I liked it. Like I said, I've got minor problems that don't. And some of my problems are the film student in me, and this is my problem with a lot of films, at least a lot of serious films. Like, and this film does take itself seriously, and it should. Like, there's not a lot of jokes in it. There are a couple like one-liners. Yeah. Shuri, it ruined the scene for me. Where she's like, "Look at or what are those?" When he's pointing at his sandals. Like, I didn't know that was based off a meme.
You didn't. Hold on. What?
I don't like those like Vine memes and stuff like that.
You don't use the internet?
I do, but I try to avoid that crap because most of it's not funny. So I didn't realize that was a meme, and then when I found out it was a meme, it ruined that for me. Because I just thought that was part of her character, because her character's over the top anyways, and for me, she stole the show.
Well, but you also have to keep in mind that she's also young.
Yeah,
So
no, it doesn't. No, I could see her character doing that. But from what I understand, that meme was so dated that it was kind of like, yes, her character would probably like joke about a meme, but that meme was so dated apparently that she probably would have done a newer meme for that. Is what I'm saying is like that. My problem with it is it dates it, like it's dated humor. Like in like 5 years time, someone watching that movie isn't going to get that joke.
Well, I mean, I didn't know it was a meme either.
So that's what I'm saying. That's my problem with it. Like I didn't have a problem with that part because I felt that fit her character. Because her character was so over the top and would just fuck with her older brother like a little sister does.
Right.
I know from experience.
Right.
That just seemed like she was just making fun of his shoes.
And I think that's all it's gonna do 5-10 years.
Yeah, that's why I wish like I wouldn't have found out that was based on a meme because a lot of people have a problem with that. Only because to me that dates the humor and I don't like dated humor. And that's just the comic connoisseur in me. So I felt like, and I feel Marvel movies are above that anyways because they don't seem to like a lot of the humor they have doesn't seem to be dated. It's just like general humor where that was definitely a dated reference. But like you said, because I didn't know it was a meme, I feel that 5 years from now, people like if they don't know that's a meme, then like that's part of the character.
Yeah.
But she stole the show from me. I freaking loved her.
Yeah.
And some people like say she's insufferable. I was like, what? The only thing I didn't like is when Forrest Whitaker asked if the family wanted to challenge. She raised her and was like, "Can we get this over with? This corset?" And I was like, I was like, that's kind of a lame joke.
That's also a little. Well, one, she's a princess, so she can say whatever she wants.
Yeah.
Two, she's also, keep in mind, she's also young.
Well, I mean,
So-
I knew she was gonna make a joke that I knew she wasn't challenging. I wanted a better joke because that joke did not hit at all with me because I knew a joke was coming.
Right.
And that joke was lame. That's what I'm saying. It's like
well-
I didn't like that
Well,
because
I
that
guess
was a
in
lame
comparison
joke.
to some of the other one-liners
Yeah.
that she's had.
I felt she was going to make a funny, smart-ass comment that I was going to laugh at, but because I thought it was going to be at the expense of her brother.
Yeah.
Thought she was going to say something stupid at the expense of T'Challa. And that's what I wanted because I thought it's like because everything she'd done up to that point was pretty funny, especially the "Did he freeze?" kind of thing like that. So I felt those were going to be kind of like an inside joke between her and her brother or something like that. And it was like, this corset is so tight. I was like, oh, that's a bad joke. Like, because like I said, like her making a joke there, it fits with the character.
Yeah.
But that joke was just bad. And maybe like what they were doing with like that's a joke a sister would make. And yes, that's a real world joke. But I am in a movie in a fictional African country with fictional metal that came from a fictional meteorite.
Yet you bring up real.
Write me a Hollywood joke. Like, write me a good joke there.
But you can't play both sides though. But
Oh,
yes,
I can.
No, you can't. So.
No,
are we gonna neglect the?
No, what I'm saying there. No, what I'm saying there is since they're writing a joke in, write a joke. Don't give me something lame. Like, give me something that's gonna make me laugh. Because it's kind of like the theater. Like the theater we were in, kind of let out a sympathetic kind of
that's pretty much the sound that it made.
Yeah, it was just kind of like if you're gonna throw a joke in there, throw a joke in there.
Yeah.
Like
I believe I groaned.
I was like I don't even know if I'm gonna. I was like because I was expecting more. But going to what I said about how this was, I felt Marvel's James Bond, and I get some of the Godfather references there. But I felt this was James Bond for a couple of reasons. Or, I shouldn't say I felt it was James Bond. It had tones of James Bond. The casino scene, definitely. Because whenever T'Challa did something like that, he felt more like a spy, like a suave spy, very James Bondish. Then Shuri was definitely Q. She's going with all these events. She's explaining to her brother, much like Q would do to Bond.
Right.
He even had the cool car that she could drive remotely.
Right.
Like, it was there was very much an international hopping kind of thing like that.
Yeah.
We got the CIA involved. He even had the CIA friend, which James Bond has the CIA friend.
Yeah.
Like, there was very much. I could see where, and I haven't read anything that Coogler has said, but I could see like. If there was one film franchise that inspired him, I could see if he said James Bond.
Yeah,
because these were this was very much like you could have changed just a few things, thrown like Daniel Craig or Sean Connery in the lead role, and we have a James Bond movie. Like it was and I like that about it because I love the James Bond films, and I really dug that casino scene. I felt that was awesome, and I did like Gollum and Bilbo Baggins exchange there. He's like, man, you just came here with this huge entourage. Were you dropping a new album or something like that? Actually, I am. It's on Spotify.
Hey, get the SoundCloud. Get the SoundCloud.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to hear your music. Just the way, like, Martin Freeman said, like, I don't want to hear your
Yeah, I
music.
definitely popped on that one. I was like,
That shit was great. And again, like, a serious movie, but when they had the jokes with the excitement of that corset joke, those jokes really worked. And they worked in a real world manner. Because they were just like something you could see someone say. But yeah, overall successful movie. Like, I get some of the Godfather tones to it, but as someone who has seen The Godfather 1 and Godfather 2 countless times, I would equate this, if you want to equate it to a mafia movie, I would say Goodfellas more than The Godfather. Just because all the betrayals within The Godfather were close family members who knew each other, who wanted power. Where, yes, Killmonger and T'Challa are cousins, but this wasn't like, oh, you betrayed me, I didn't know you would betray me, kind of thing like that, because we were close like this.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Killmonger, he made no bones of what he was going for. He wanted the throne, and he was going to do it by any means necessary. And there was no subterfuge there. He's like, I'm coming right at you. Where in The Godfather, every backstab, every play for power is always a behind the scenes kind of thing like that. So that's where it's kind of like the comparisons to The Godfather I didn't quite get. Where I would compare it more to like Goodfellas or The Departed if we were comparing it to gangster movies, or even Chinatown. But I wouldn't compare it to The Godfather because everything in The Godfather was deception behind the scenes. Where the only real deception in this movie was Killmonger to Claw.
Yeah.
And the brother of T'Chaka.
Well, there was a little deception there, but that was more. That was more espionage.
He's selling weapons.
I know, but that was more espionage than, I guess mafioso kind of thing like that. Yeah, there was kind of a mob vibe there too.
Well, so the way that I interpreted the reference to The Godfather was that it was more or less in reference to the decision making that the king would, or whoever's head of the Godfather family would have to make in regards to choices that he makes and how it affects people around him. So it wasn't so much that, well, this is, what happened in Black Panther and this is what happened in, Godfather, and yes, there's this, but it's not comparable on a one-to-one scale. It was just more like some of the decisions or the choices that were made in Godfather could be more or less seen in Black Panther. I don't know. I'm personally not a big fan of The Godfather, so I've only seen it once. But that's what my interpretation was of that movie. So
I hadn't read any of the articles that referenced The Godfather, so this was not hyperbole. They were actually comparing the Black Panther movie to the Godfather movie.
Okay, which
so is that am I understanding that?
Well,
correctly?
I think they were trying to point out similarities.
Okay.
Because I think at least what I've read, the similarities they were trying to point out were more ignorance of the Godfather than anything else. Just because I think what they wanted to do was compare the family squabbles and the grasp for power to mafioso grasp for power. But this
I don't see it.
Yeah, this movie does not hit on the same tones as The Godfather does.
Right.
Like, as far as like what you're talking about, the decisions of the head of the family, the leader, which made me think about this one scene in The Godfather where the attempted assassination on Don Corleone. It all came about because this one guy, he wanted to sell drugs, and the mafia was very much against drug selling. That was one of the things they did not approve of. And during this meeting where this Italian guy is talking about bringing like heroin and stuff like that to New York, and Don Corleone and all the other heads of the family. Well, one of the heads of the family was for it. The others were kind of like waiting to see what Don Corleone did, and Don Corleone's like turning the guy down, and then Sonny, his oldest son, speaks up like, whoa, wait, and like Don Corleone smacks him. He's like, as you see, my son, he speaks when he should listen. And Don Corleone goes on. He's very respectful about it. It's like, you want to bring drugs and blah, blah, blah. We can't say that these won't be sold in schools and all this stuff like that, kids and stuff like that.
Right.
And so he basically says, like, no, we're not in. And because he's not in, then the other family's like, no, we're not in. So that's why they attempt assassination on him. And then Michael later on meets with the head of the police department, or the commissioner of the police, and this drug dealer guy. And the guy's like, Sonny was hot for my idea, right? Blah, blah, blah. Sonny wanted it, blah, blah, blah. That's where Michael makes a decision to kill those two. But that's the main crux of The Godfather. And also with Michael being the pro/antagonist of The Godfather, which is why The Godfather is such a masterful storytelling, because Michael is very sympathetic at the beginning. Like, he's the hero. Like, he just got back from World War II. He's a decorated veteran. He's clean cut. His father never wanted to be involved in the mob. He's staying out of it. Like, he has nothing to do with the family. And then he gets sucked into it, which is the tragedy of the Godfather films, is that Michael was set up to be this great human, and then he becomes an even crueler mob boss than his father. Shit, I lost my point. But anyways, that's where I can't see the comparisons to it.
Right.
Because Killmonger's set up to be a bad guy from the onset when we first meet him. Like I said, I think Coogler does a good job of making you kind of forget that later on in the movie, makes him sympathetic, then turns him back into a sociopath. T'Challa has never once wavers off of being a good guy. Like, never once in the movie does he think that he's doing wrong. The only time he really changes his mind is like, we have to open up Wakanda's borders. We can do more to help, not just black people, but all people. Like, he kind of gets that. And he has, like, one thing I like about the Black Panther movies, he has the reverse hero's journey of the Joe Scott Campbell hero's journey, where call to action, go to faraway lands and stuff like. His call to action was to go home, which was kind of a cool reversal of the hero's journey.
Yeah.
Because his call to action was come back home.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is where I think like the best I think comparison for it is hero's journey meets Lion King. You have a reluctant king who comes home, who doesn't think he's going to be as good as his father.
Yeah.
Where from everything about Lion King, Mufasa was probably a more just ruler than T'Chaka, just from the one opening scene.
Right.
Which is why like I want that like graphic novel of how T'Chaka really was as a king.
Right. Killmonger's scar.
Yeah.
In a way.
Kind of, yeah.
Oh,
But I don't know if we talked about this on the podcast. I get the recasting of Lion King for the live action Lion King.
I'm not seeing it.
I won't either. But the fact that they recast Jeremy Irons as Scar, they got what's the actor's name? Bad guy from Serenity, Nelson.
Oh, I can never remember his name.
No, because it's
Oh yeah, you're talking about the dude that literally destroys everybody, but
Yeah.
yeah.
oh, yeah, I can't remember his name either. But
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like they got him to play Scar, and I think
Wait,
he'll
wasn't he in Firefly too?
Yeah, he was.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wait, Serenity is
Firefly, yeah. But
fail.
I would have
get-
also taken Four Brothers.
I get why they cast him because he does play a good villain.
Yeah.
But God, Jeremy Irons was so great at Scar. Because I just rewatched The Lion King the other day because I felt like it. He's so fucking good. I was like, I get it. You want basically an all black cast with it. I get that. But come on, man, Jeremy Irons is so good because Lion King is Hamlet. Like that is what the Lion King is. It is Hamlet. And I was like, Jeremy Irons, man, that's the one role you can't recast. I wouldn't have been mad if they would have recast Mufasa though, because after seeing Road One, like how degenerated James Earl Jones' voice has become, he doesn't sound like himself anymore. Like
He's also old.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just becoming age. Like his voice is higher pitched now. Like I would not have been mad if they would have recast him as Darth Vader in Rogue One because when he speaks in that, it's off. Like it's not right. And again, that's because he's old.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something that he could avoid personally.
Well, he could. Maybe he could have. We don't know if he's a drinker or a smoker.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like his voice has just changed because of age, and it always happens to us. And that was that actually jarred me and kind of like pulled me out of the movie in Rogue One. So I almost wondered like.
Except when he's slicing and dicing.
He wasn't talking. he was just doing baddest thing.
Yeah.
So which begs the question is like, when the Lion King comes out, because I'll eventually watch it. I don't think. Well, I got Movie Pass, so maybe I might go see it in theaters. Is that gonna pull me out of that movie too? Especially the speech. Like if they, I doubt they're gonna do it shot for shot.
As long as he says exactly what he did in '92, it's all good.
Well, but I'm saying like
take that audio,
that.
stick it there.
Actually, yeah, just. Don't even cast him. Just redo the audio.
He has to get the credit, but they just
yeah,
the
they just rip the audio. Let him record it. Let him think he's doing it.
Turn the bass up to like 10 just in case. And
But my two favorite castings in the remake, and I'm calling it a remake. I'm not calling it live action. It's not live action. Is
Donald Glover.
Well, no, I was gonna say Donald Glover second, but Donald Glover is Simba. Which is he playing young and old Simba? Because
I actually don't know.
when I looked that up on IMDb, it just said Simba Donald Glover. It didn't say young or old.
I think he's one of those actors you could probably play.
Well, I think he could. I think
Yeah.
because he did Miles Morales and he changed his voice a little bit from Miles Morales, like higher pitch. I think he could do both. But Zazu is John Oliver. So I think John Oliver's going to knock it out of the park as Zazu, and then Donald Glover's going to knock it out of the park as Simba. Because the thing is, like, looking back on the movie, I don't mind Jonathan Taylor Thomas as Simba. I think that actually works. He's an energetic kid playing an energetic cub.
Yeah.
Even as a kid, I did not like Matthew Broderick as older Simba. Just because, like, Matthew Broderick was so cool in Ferris Bueller. And just ever since then, just dork. and it's just like it almost ruins Ferris Bueller for me. And I never thought his voice fit because like Simba, yes, he's supposed to doubt himself, but he's still supposed to be a strong lion.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not like just trying to think back to what 92.
Somewhere around there.
I have to look at like actors then to like really cast it, like who was big then. But yeah, it's like Matthew Broderick's voice to me, even as a kid, as a 10-year-old kid, did not fit that like line. And I was like,
I just had a horrible thought. Like popular actors around 92 era, like it guys were like on 90210. So you'd have Jason Priestley and
I don't know. It could have been like Denzel.
like maybe, but I don't know if he. I don't know if he was. I don't know what his star was like at that point. I don't remember.
It couldn't have been any lower than Matthew Broderick because Matthew Broderick peaked with Ferris Bueller.
I don't know. Luke Perry as Simba seems very wrong to me.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever got Luke Perry.
I know. I mean, I'm just if you were just going off of like popular actors at the time. Granted, I'm sure there were more. I just can't remember what they were.
I'm not even going with like
Yeah.
popular actors because I don't think there was like a rush for Matthew Perry,
Broderick.
Matthew Broderick in when Lion King was being cast.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
And plus,
like,
they didn't cast the way they do now.
And I'm pretty sure Matthew Broderick got that role through auditioning. I don't think like they were like, who do we want to play Simba? Matthew Broderick. I don't think that name jumps to mind when you're thinking King.
But it is 92 though, so
I mean that's kind of the caliber you're looking at outside of Broderick. I just don't remember what Denzel was doing at that time. I'm sure Glory was in the can.
Yeah, he had already won Best Supporting Actor for Glory. Could have got Morgan Freeman. He was popular then. And that actually would have...
for Simba.
But that would have fit, though, because you got to think Mufasa and then his son when he becomes older probably have a voice kind of like Morgan Freeman's. I'm just saying.
Then we might as well make Morgan Freeman Mufasa and make James Earl Jones freaking Simba.
Actually, that would work for me.
Morgan Freeman.
Pussy Frank. And we're only going to... We've gone way longer than I thought we were on Black Panther. But we're going to have to touch on this because next week this will definitely be old news. We won't go into too much detail now. But it's a more serious topic. So with the recent school shooting in Florida, we're not going to get too political here because this is not the forum we do it. That's more my fireside chats where I'll get political on stuff. But politicians, including our president, have started blaming video games for gun violence.
Once again.
Which plenty of studies have shown video games actually tempers violent
Did you say that on purpose?
No. Violent impulses in use.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually accentuate them. But again, the ESA and the ESRB don't pump billions of dollars into Congress like the NRA does.
Right. So scapegoat.
Yeah, it's basically scapegoating. Never mind the fact that me playing a violent video game. Actually, I did want to play a shooter tonight. I forgot, but we didn't talk about this mostly. Me playing a violent video game doesn't kill anybody, but if I got my hands on an assault rifle or a semi-automatic, I could kill people really easily. Because I mean, I could throw this controller at Nelson's head really hard. I don't think I'm going to kill him. We can try it, Nelson, if you're game.
I'm not sure you're going to want to buy another controller.
Actually, yeah, this is expensive. Let me grab my cheaper controller. Let me throw the PlayStation controller. I don't use this that much. But yeah, it's just it drives me insane because violent movies, violent literature, just and violent plays, they've been around.
Yeah, for forever.
As long as we've had like speech and writing ability.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it doesn't. There's no correlation. There's like again, countless studies have been done on violent video games.
Honestly, by the logic of violent video games causes violent people, that logic screams to me. If that was true, I feel like we would already be living in the Purge.
Yes.
Yeah. Except perpetually,
exactly
not just one day, not just one day, perpetually
and
the Purge.
The thing is, violent video games they've found is an outlet for violent urges. Like someone like, and I know it is for me. Like back when we used to play Gears of War all the time, because I don't really, even though it's a shooter, I don't consider Overwatch a violent game.
Yeah.
Just because it's so over the top with the characters. it's like a comic book.
I feel like I'm watching like some sort of offshoot of The Incredibles every time I play the game.
Yeah, or like an anime or something like that.
Which, by the way, The Incredibles 2 is coming out this summer.
Yep, we'll go see that. Like
Yes.
we're two
I've been-
somethings and a kids movie together.
Shit, I mean, I've been waiting for that movie forever.
I think everybody
Since the first one.
Yeah.
But it's actually like a lot of people get their aggression out on violent video games.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how I don't really play violent video games that much anymore, but I get my aggression out at the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've had a really stressful day at work.
Right.
I'm gonna go lift 250 pounds. I'm gonna go
Right.
lift 500 pounds, something like that. That gets all that aggression out, and they have found among young people, they let their aggressions out on video games and not on other people.
Right.
So blaming of video games just because, and I haven't like read up about whether or not this asshole.
Yeah,
Like
I
violent
haven't
video
I haven't
games?
heard anything about that. I feel like
But-
that would have been mentioned.
But yeah, that
Right.
jump to conclusion that violent video games are to blame is ridiculous.
I agree.
And that's not just because it's a hobby of ours that we're defending it. There's
Yeah.
studies that have been done showing that there's no correlation. Just like there were studies done before video games that there was no correlation between violent movies
Mm-hmm.
and violent aggression. In fact, someone who like gets their idea from violence from a video game is probably going to end up dead. Because let's face it, you can take like a ton of bullets in a video game, you just hide,
yeah,
and you regenerate health.
exactly.
That doesn't translate to the real world.
Right.
And plus, doing this is and as someone who shot plenty of guns, doing this is way different than doing this.
Yeah.
It's a world difference. So it's not the same. We're not going to get too serious and touch on this too much about it. But it's a ridiculous claim to make. It's a scapegoating claim because, again, like I said, the ESA does not have the same political clout as the NRA, and that's the only reason why this is being done.
Now, I actually saw a headline earlier today. I didn't click on the story, but the headline, it was definitely clickbaity, and it just made my head hurt. It was a picture of Trump, and it says, like they tried to make it seem like he was saying it. I don't know if he was saying it or not. He's like, maybe there should be a rating system for these things. Like, really?
But in defense of Trump for this, and
Yeah.
this is one of the few times I'll say this,
Oh,
he
jeez.
actually the butt stocks at
The bump stocks.
bump
yeah,
stocks,
yeah.
thank you, that make it almost turn a semi-automatic into an automatic. He wants to ban those,
Yeah, I did.
which
see
a
that.
lot of NRA people are against. So I mean, at the very least, Trump is trying to do something,
Yeah.
which is more than I can say for any president since Clinton, because
Well-
Clinton signed the Brady Bill. So it's one of those, and I believe it was Reagan who banned assault rifles before that.
Yeah.
Bush let it expire, the ban on assault rifles. So at least he's trying to do something that's proactive.
So so let's be clear. He has said something. There have been multiple times where he's said something and has done nothing.
No, I know,
So,
but I mean,
so it's just one of those.
but
things
at
that
least
we just have to wait
at
and
least
see.
he said something. It's a start. Like I said, it's a start, and hopefully he does follow through with this.
We'll see.
Because one thing I can say for Trump, he doesn't care what the rest of the party thinks. Because he's, and this is mostly bad, but sometimes good.
Sometimes there's a sliver
because
of
because he is so stubborn and bullish, he doesn't care what the rest of the party thinks. If he thinks something's a good idea, and like I said, goes good and bad.
Mostly bad, but-
He will go ahead and go with it. So I mean, if he really wants to get rid of these bump stocks, he will sign the executive order, and that means 2/3 of the Senate and Congress have to override it. Which there might be a 2/3 majority in the Congress. I haven't checked. I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's not a 2/3 majority in the Senate because we wouldn't have had those shutdowns if there were.
Right.
So that will stand if he does it. If he does, and maybe he can do an executive order of this, because with executive orders, I know there's some things they can do and can't do. I haven't been in a social studies class or a civics class in
20
roughly
years.
about
Over a
20 years.
decade?
Yeah, roughly about.
Well, no, I took history and civics in college too.
Oh yeah, okay.
Remember, I'm a government employee, so
Yeah.
I took some government classes in prep for that. So I'm not sure how powerful executive orders are in certain areas and stuff like that. But at least it's something, and it's hopeful. And the way it's got a lot of Republicans ruffled, I feel that he's serious about it. Because I feel if he just mentioned off the cusp and like, oh, he's not going to do it, there wouldn't be this pushback and backlash for it.
I think once again it'll be something that we'll need to see.
Yeah, actions speak louder than words, but something needs to be done. Like I've gotten to plenty of arguments with family members, including my own father, about this. It's like my child's right to a safe school outweighs your right to have an assault rifle. Mm-hmm. Just plain and simple. In fact, I'm for the Second Amendment. I own guns. I have a pistol, a couple shotguns, and a rifle. They were all used to be used for hunting. I don't hunt anymore because I don't like getting up early and I don't like being out in the cold. So
fair enough.
Yeah. And I'm all for the Second Amendment, but I'm also a good shot. I don't own any pistol's semi-automatic. I take that back. But none of my rifles are semi-automatics. They're all pump action, which means one shot, pump, another shot. And this is where the argument with my dad started, because I'm a really good shot. My dad is an even better shot. My dad, at 350 yards with his 30-06, can put a round through a quarter.
Wow.
It's a fucking shot right there.
Yeah.
And I've seen him do it several times. And I said to him, I was like, yes, you've gotten older, but because his argument was, well, what if I miss, or what if it hits a twig or something like that? I was like, I've seen you with a bolt action. You are good enough and quick enough. If you misfire or get a bad shot off on a deer, you can get another round in the chamber and pop that deer before it gets away. I was like, you don't need an automatic weapon. No one or a semi-automatic weapon. No one needs one. And then he argued with me, and I was like, all right, I'll compromise. You can have your semi-automatics. The largest magazine you can have is 5 rounds, and it can't be a quick change. Like, you can't pop it out, pop another one in there.
Right.
I was like, that way, if someone does use one of these for a school shooting, the best they're going to get off is 5 rounds, which most of these people aren't trained. 5 rounds does not mean 5 kills, so I'm not sacrificing 5 kids.
Yeah.
It definitely means at least a few injuries, maybe a death or 2.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not a 17 teenage massacre.
Yeah, you control the casualty to some degree.
You minimize the devastation. Which I feel is a good start and a good compromise. Again, he shot it down because he's full-on Republican Second Amendment. Which I used to be a Republican. Donald Trump actually got me away from the Republican Party. So I was like, I'm not voting for this asshole. Like, if he's a Republican, I'm not a Republican. It's like, I'm not him. Which pushed me more to center lean right. But again, I offered this compromise. It's like, well, what if you did this? You're gonna be semi-automatic. Like, because 5 rounds is more than enough to kill a deer if you miss that first shot.
Right.
Because if you don't hit it with those other 4 shots,
then go home.
You should not be hunting because you are a danger.
If I understand it correctly, that's enough to butcher a deer for the most part.
So, it's just one of those things. It's just kind of like no one's and the problem's on both sides because no one's willing to compromise because the left wants to ban guns and the right doesn't want to do anything.
Right.
And no one's willing to come together and compromise. So it's like sounds like we're bashing the right here, but the left is also to blame because they take it to the extreme now. Because like I've said this before, I don't think I've said it on the podcast. Like I said, we don't get political here, but I've said this many a times. The parties are going more towards their base, which is ridiculous because that is a small percentage of people who are going to vote for you, and they're going to vote for you regardless. Like the far right is never going to vote Democrat, and the far left is never going to vote Republican. You need to worry about the middle, which is the vast majority of this country. And I think most people in the middle want something done.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, we all may disagree about what we want done, because I honestly think assault rifles should be banned. I don't think anybody needs one.
I agree.
And also, the argument I always hate is like, well, it was written in the Second Amendment, so government oppression. Here's the problem with this as it relates to today's modern military. Our government has F-22s, F-35s, tanks, and a goddamn nuclear bomb. You can have all the assault rifles in the world. One of those 3 things is going to kick your ass. So you can't, if the government decided to become oppressive,
I want to be in that F-35.
You as a citizen aren't going to do shit. Like, there's nothing you can do. If a tank rolls up to your house...
Well, actually, no, wait. There is something you can do. You can put in GTA, learn how to drive a tank, learn how to fly a plane. Get ready, because video games apparently
Yeah.
are the
Well,
reason why.
Exactly.
Well, flying the plane part, isn't that kind of similar to flying a drone?
Hey, I played
At
Flight
least
Simulator 98.
the slightest
Dude, I love
mechanics.
Flight Simulator. I don't even know why. It was the most boring fucking game ever. I'm flying to Hawaii.
Didn't you used to play like metal while you were freaking playing that game?
Say it.
I was like, I almost said Linkin Park. It's like, no, that sounds wrong.
That's too old.
Yeah.
Or too new for Flight
Yeah,
Simulator.
I was like, that sounds way wrong. Not Linkin
But
Park.
yeah, it's just like that argument of like to stop the oppression from the government. It's like we have tanks and planes and bombs. You're not gonna do anything.
And also, there was threat of invasion. I mean, I'm sure there is still some threat of invasion for us, but it'd be completely different.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be a lot. It'd be a lot more involved. That's for damn sure. It'd be. I imagine it would be a lot harder to.
No,
invade the US.
there's no real one of the beauty things about our country is there's no real threat of invasion.
Yeah.
Like the only way to beat us is to nuke us.
Yeah.
Into submission.
Well, I'm talking about versus colonial times with the Revolutionary War, where you.
Well, yeah, there was a threat then.
Yeah, there's a threat then. There's not the threat now. At least
That we know of.
that we.
The only people who can invade us are Canada and Mexico. Mexico tried that. They got their asses kicked.
Canada doesn't care.
Nah, well, they don't care, but even if they did try it, they'd get their asses kicked.
Yeah.
Like there is no military on the face of this planet that can invade our country successfully, because they'd have to come over and see. We have the strongest navy in the history of mankind,
Yeah.
and you're not getting to the continental United States. You might take Hawaii. You might just kick the shit out of the Philippines because they're an ally.
Yeah.
But you're not getting to the continental United States. It's just not happening.
Well, hell, even if they took Alaska, then you have all that natural tundra in ice and snow.
Well, if they tried to take Alaska, the Canadians would back us up because
Yeah.
that puts them on the doorstep of Canada. And
Oh yeah,
Canada's like-
exactly. Yeah.
Because that thing is like if you try to invade us through Alaska, which means you have to march through Canada, and Canada's not having that
No.
because the reason why China's communist, well, kind of communist, they're not really communist anymore.
Yeah.
They're communist capitalist hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
But the only reason why like they became communist was because at the end of World War II, when we were trying to beat Japan into submission, the Soviets marched through China and just like, this seems like a nice place. Let's set up a puppet government here too, like we did in the Eastern Bloc.
Yeah.
So I mean, like Canada's not going to allow China or Russia to march
yeah.
through Canada. They're like, no.
No.
Right.
We're
But
not
also
gonna
that
have
would be
this.
that's just a hell of a terrain to try to come.
Yeah,
through.
exactly. Like just the terrain alone, not even counting on Canada.
Yeah.
That's a rough march.
Yeah. So I mean,
You got polar bears and the Thing.
There's no polar bear
No,
in
I know.
Canada.
I know.
Yeah,
There's no. The Thing isn't even a real thing
You
either.
have Wendigos in Canada.
Thank
though.
you.
Jesus.
Thank you.
And Wolverines.
The Thing took place in Alaska, right?
No, it's the Arctic.
Was it the Arctic? I was
think it
confused.
was the South Pole.
I always confused that
Pretty
because
sure.
I always thought it was Alaska, but I might be confusing that with 30 Days of Night.
That was Alaska. 30
Yeah.
Days of Night was Alaska. But yeah, so I mean, video games do not. I mean, they might make some people violent, but not to this extent.
I agree.
Yeah.
I don't have a thoughtable because you shot down my idea for a thoughtable. And I couldn't think of one while we were talking.
Well.
Oh, funny story though. I'm gonna end on this. So, Sean has started to play Madden online, like doing the Ultimate Team franchise thing.
Oh, okay.
He made someone rage quit. He was whooping the shit
Oh,
out
yeah.
of them, and they rage quit.
That was this week, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the other day. It was so great. Like I just went upstairs because like I lost track of time playing Overwatch. Like oh shit, I need to go to bed, and because like literally like time just got away from me because I was gonna take a break, get Sean to bed, and then come back down and play. And I look up, I was like, fuck, it's 10 o'clock. I gotta go to bed. I go upstairs. He's playing video games because he's a kid. He has no concept of time. Dad doesn't say go to bed. He's gonna stay up.
Right.
And so he's in the middle of a game. I was like, you need to go to bed. He's like, I'm playing online. I can't. If I quit, I lose. And you know, as a gamer, I know that. I was like,
Right.
and I look, and I was like, he's winning by 6 points. Let's see where this goes. The very next play, kid could have been a man. I don't know who he's playing. Luckily, he
It was
doesn't have the
probably
headset
a
on. I told him if you play online, you're not playing with me, or like Landon, you don't have the headset on. You're not talking to anybody.
Right.
So he's playing this person online. Next thing they do, they throw an interception. I was like, oh shit. And then Sean marches on the field, scores a touchdown. So he's up by 2 touchdowns now. I was like, alright, let's see where this goes. So I'm just watching him play. And then the person he's playing is driving down the field. It's 4th and goal from the 1. They go for it. Sean stuffs him in the backfield. Or stuffs him at the line. So Sean then has first down from the 1 yard line.
Oh,
Very next play, the other team calls an all-out blitz. Sean breaks the tackle in the backfield, takes it 99 yards for the touchdown. And then I go real quick to the kitchen just to finish up the dishes real quick, come back and watch. I come back, he's like, your game's over already? He's like, dude, quit on me.
Hey.
So he got the win and everything like that. I was like, my son just made someone rage quit and mad, and I'm proud of him.
Because I remember you yelled down to me too. Now I think about it, I was like,
no, I either called or texted.
oh no, you called me. That's right.
Yeah.
You did call me.
I was like, Sean just made someone fucking rage quit and mad.
Yeah, I was looking at my phone. I'm like, why is he calling me? It's 10 o'clock. We're going to bed now.
Yeah, it was just hilarious. That was a proud dad moment because Sean beats me in Madden now. But in my defense, I haven't really played Madden in like.
I was like,
years.
when's the last time you cared?
Like
about
I
that?
played for the podcast and get my ass kicked in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, back in the day, I tell you one thing. If they had the Madden tournaments back when we were in college, I could have done damage in that because I'm not even saying like, oh, I could beat the computer. Like, no one could beat me. Like at college, in high school, I would just dominate the shit out of somebody. Like, if the first time I played them, it'd be a close game. But I was so ingrained in Madden, I would never have patterns. Like, I would never call the same play twice and stuff like that. But everybody you play usually, they get into patterns. You know exactly what they're gonna do.
Right.
So I would figure out their patterns in the first half. It was almost like folding a lot in poker. Like I wasn't revealing what I had, but I was remembering what you did.
Right.
And remembering what your hand was. So in the second half, it would just be devastating. Like this one time, I was playing Devin in Madden, and I was kind of taking it easy on him because Devin has never beat me in Madden. And I think I had like a 6-point lead going into halftime, and Nelson and Kevin were over. This was before Nelson moved in with me, and we were in my basement, and I'm playing, and it's not like Devin didn't know he was on the speaker. I had him going to the Connect, so they could hear what he was saying because it was basically friends hanging out.
Yeah.
Right.
Just one virtually.
And then Devin's like, "Oh, I got you figured out. I'm gonna win this game." I muted him. I looked at Kevin Nelson. I was like, "This is not gonna end well for him." He didn't. I don't even think he got a first down in the second half.
Wow.
The final score was like 77-13, and we went to halftime at like 16 or like 20-13. It was just, I was just
in
like...
my mind, that story, you just turned to us, you're like, watch this.
Actually, I think that's what I said. I said something like that, because he was just talking shit how he was going to take me in the second half. I was like, because it's not like, I knew exactly what he was doing. I knew all the plays he was calling. And it was kind of like, I was taking these, I was just screwing around. And like, I know Kevin knew I was screwing around, because Kevin had just gotten an ass whooping from me in Madden, because he decided to talk shit before we started playing. And then, so I think Kevin knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
I think Kevin knew I was toying with
Baiting.
Devin. Yeah, and then
Baiting.
I'm not sure how much Nelson knew, because Nelson, I don't know if you've ever played Madden.
I've been forced to play Madden at Mike's house when we were in high school.
Okay.
And
But-
early college.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like Kevin knew what was going on. I
Yeah.
don't think Nelson was ready for it until I said something. And then it was just like, all right, I'm done playing. And the funny thing about Devin, when I've beaten him in Madden, he's always picked whatever the best team was that year. And 9 times out of 10, I'm picking the Redskins, who at best have been mediocre in that game since it's been on the next-gen systems. Occasionally, I'll pick a good team just to shut him up quickly. But that night I was playing as the Redskins. I think he was the Steelers, because I think it was right after they had won the Super Bowl, or he was the Packers.
Probably.
Um,
that seems about the right
And I
time
just
frame.
beat the absolute shit out of him. It was just merciless. It wasn't even fair. So I'd done the same thing to Kevin, because we were getting ready to play, and Kevin just started talking shit before the game even started. I was like, okay. I was like, let me just end this game early.
Yeah. That's too
But
bad.
yeah, back in the day, I was, like I said, like, when we were in like high school, college, if they had these Madden tournaments, I'm not saying I would have won, but I probably would have fared really well. I probably would have won prizes or something like that, because I used to play that game all the time, just hardcore, just love the shit out of it.
Yeah, I remember those times when you could tell it was Mad season. Like, what's Josh playing? I don't even have to look at the map.
Yeah. Well, and it's things like we used to have tournaments all the time. Well, not we, as in you didn't play, but like a bunch of my friends would come over, and like this was kind of like it was a LAN party, but not a LAN party because we just played on one system. But like friends who didn't really know each other, just like all different aspects of my friendships,
Right.
like work friends, school friends, best friends.
Yeah.
All those of us who played Madden all would get together at my house or my buddy Jeff's house, and we'd like have Madden tournaments. And what we would do is to make it fair, we'd start the night off with a fantasy draft. So you just pick whatever team you want. It didn't matter because you're basically just picking a uniform.
Right.
And then we would draft our team. So basically, like how you did in the tournament would be how well you played and how well you could draft a team. So those were always fun.
So it was pretty much fantasy football with a video game aspect. Okay.
Yeah, that's actually what got me into fantasy football was
Yeah.
doing those tournaments. And 9 times out of 10, I won those tournaments. Like I didn't win all of them, but most of the time I like placed like first or second in those. It was, and then I quit playing Madden for a while, and Sean started playing it for a long time, and I played him. And I remember the first time I played him, I let him win, and this was years ago when he first started playing. I let him win because I was like, I'm not gonna beat my son to a pulp. Then he started talking shit, so the second game I beat him.
I knew how that sentence was going.
And then it's like the Madden games kind of got boring to me because if I played on All Pro, I could win the Super Bowl 16-0 or 19-0 real easily.
Yeah.
But then you jump it up to All Madden, and the game just would cheat. Like not even like would get harder. It would just cheat. Like you'd have like a receiver wide open for a touchdown, drop the ball for no reason. Hands are like 99, and you just throw it to him, drops it, and like your guy would just fumble for no reason. And it's kind of like Madden got bored to me because it was either like too easy, or I'm about to break my control.
way
It's
too hard.
frustrating. The game's
Right.
cheating.
Right.
So it's just kind of like the difficulty spike. It no longer fun. It bored me, and my light for the NFL has just dwindled over the years.
Yeah.
To the point where he's excited about the XFL.
I am very excited about the XFL. But then Sean started like taking up the mantle and playing it all the time.
Yeah.
So then I actually played him, and I was playing him the hardest I could, again, without having played in a couple of years, and he was playing me, and I couldn't beat him. It's like I was, and what I'm proud of him is he doesn't have patterns. Like, from what I could see just playing him a couple times, is like he doesn't like pick the same like 4 plays, because most people who play the game will pick like the same 4 or 5 plays. That's all they pick. And you can see like the formations they're lining up in. It's kind of like, oh, okay, he's doing this. It's going to be a wide receiver screen. I'm going to jump the route, get a pick 6.
Right.
Devin did that a lot. It was so much fun. That's how like the score got out of hand so quickly. Sean doesn't do that. Like because he thinks about football from a coach's analytic point of view. He's thinking to himself, it's like, okay, it's 2nd and 5. This is what he's probably expecting me to do. Let me hit him with this.
Right.
So I always get kind of proud of him when I'm watching him play this game, because he's not picking the same like 5 plays over and over again. It's like he's and what's really cool is like getting ready for football season, even though we're in winter and it's not till next fall, and I'm probably going to coach football this fall. He's making a place. He's already drawn a place. Like, Dad, we got to do this. And I'm looking at these plays like, kind of good plays. So
That's awesome.
yeah, we're gonna end that on me bragging about my son. Don't tell him though. I don't want him to get a big head.
He doesn't watch this, right? He's not allowed to watch a podcast, right?
No, we curse too much. I tell him not to
You
watch.
curse too much. Let's be.
I
clear.
mean,
We're a team. We. And I don't even know if I cursed that much this time. Probably said fuck several times.
I will hop on the train too, because I know I curse. I don't know if I curse as much as you do.
I've become so desensitized that I don't even know I'm doing it.
I know there are times that I don't curse. I don't think this is one of those times.
Oh. No, I'm going to like give my son some shit now. So he came, was coming home from work, drove by, he was at a friend's house, driveway playing basketball, which irritated me a little bit because the hoop they were playing on, really shitty compared to the one I got him for Christmas. But I was like, whatever. Maybe those kids can't come all the way up to our cul-de-sac, whatever.
Yeah.
He's playing. I was like, hey, be home by 4:30. I'm going to the gym, shoot some hoops. I'm going to work out. Got to meet your mom there. Comes home, he's all moping. I was like, why are you moping? I was like, when we were playing Knockout, which I guess is a form of 21, and I lost all 3 games. I was like, so? I'm just not good at basketball. I was like, is that the attitude you're supposed to have? I was like, you learn more from losing than you do from winning.
Yeah.
I was like, I gave him the Michael Jordan speech. Like, you know, Michael Jordan got cut from his high school basketball team. And it's like no winner has ever been perfect. They've always failed. Even LeBron, the anointed king, lost so many NBA finals and Eastern Conference finals before he finally won.
Random question: does Sean know who Michael Jordan is?
He does. In fact, he asked me for a pair of Jordans.
Just
last night.
making sure.
I was like, no, because you. I was like,
because you suck at basketball.
I was like, you weren't alive to see him play. I'm not going to get you a pair of Jordans. I've never owned a pair of Jordans, and I'm not going to spend more money on shoes for you than I spend on me.
I've owned one pair of Jordans.
And Sean was like, but Josh has Jordans. I was like, I don't give a shit. His parents spend too much money on shoes.
Ask his parents.
Yeah, because that's my thing. Is like, I'm not like.
I was gonna say you can get a pair of Jordans when you can buy them yourself. But I remembered, wait, I don't think Josh would actually let him spend money on Jordans.
Oh no, if he's got his own job, whatever.
Okay.
But here's the thing: is like, I'm not going to buy him expensive ass shoes like that he'll outgrow.
Oh yeah,
in like less than a year.
Yeah.
Right.
And by the time like he's done growing, I'm still not buying him Jordans because I'm like, you've got a job, get your own fucking Jordans. So I will never buy him Jordans.
Yeah. I have a regular job. I've seen pairs of Jordans that I like. I'm like, I cannot bring myself to do it. That's so much money.
Because I don't wear tennis shoes that often. Like, I will wear walking shoes. Like, the most expensive pair of shoes I've ever bought myself were a pair of Air Force Ones. Because
that ran you like what, $60, 60,
80.
70, 80? Well, I'm not that far off, but
yeah. Should have only run me $60, $70, but fucking Nelly had to write a song about them and they jumped up in price. Because I remember they used to be like $50 back when we were in college.
Yeah.
Air Force One comes out, the price doubles for those shoes. And the only reason why I got mine for $80 is because they were on sale or at a coupon or something.
They were at Ross.
No, unfortunately, I've never seen a pair of. Well, I have seen a pair of Air Force Ones at Ross.
They were probably
the ugliest fucking
probably.
shoes I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because me, if I buy Air Force Ones, they're gonna be all white. Because I think that is just
so you're
the
gonna
nicest look.
so you'd go classic. Okay.
Yeah. Well, with the exception of my New Balances, like I usually get like either all white or all black. But with my 574s, I need them in every color to match whatever I'm wearing.
Well, I think we're done here.
That's the closest.
It's degenerated.
Yeah. That's Devin's fault.
Yeah.
Because I bought the blue ones that I liked,
Uh-huh.
and then I ended up getting those red ones just because they were like on clearance.
Yeah.
Like super clearance for like $15.
Oh, you're talking about the ones that you use now?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Devin saw a couple pictures of me in the blue ones, and then saw a picture of me in the red ones. He's like, I like it. You're buying shoes to match your outfits. And I wasn't. I just bought them because I liked the blue ones. And then I
you're
bought
like,
the red
ones.
ones.
I was with you.
Well, I liked the red ones, but the red ones were also uber cheap.
Yeah.
And then that got me thinking, it's like, I do need colored shoes to match my outfits. So that's all Devin's fault.
Yeah, that's probably Devin's fault that I do that at all.
Yeah, because I used to be
well,
just
that worked advanced.
Because I used to be, I had a pair of black sneakers and a pair of white sneakers, and then dress shoes for dressing up.
Yeah.
Because black and white goes pretty much everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started doing like the different colors because fucking Devin got that in my head. Because once someone like really compliments me on like an accidental fashion statement I make,
Yeah.
then I start thinking about it. I was like, I'll look at the pictures like, it does look good. So yeah, we're gonna end on that because that's just a funny way to end this talk. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, go see Black Panther.
Yes.
Go see 12 Strong.
Yes.
Avoid 1715 to Paris.
Wait till you go on a trip. Watch it on a plane.
Yeah, because
I wouldn't even go that far.
that last 10-15 minutes is awesome. The first 65 minutes, because it's only a 90-minute movie, thankfully,
It's rough.
is rough because, again, it stars the three heroes from that terrorist attack. They are not actors.
No.
Not even close.
It's painfully obvious when they're in a scene paired with actors.
Yeah.
Because you see the stark difference. You see, a performance. I won't say it's good or bad, and then you see wooden acting.
Yeah. And the worst part is when they're just them together, it's still wooden. Like
it's just slightly better.
Because they know a camera's there. What I was talking about this with a friend of mine. I was like, what Clint Eastwood should have done for all the scenes where they're in Europe together is not have the camera in their face, but have hide the microphone, but have microphones on them so you can hear them, and just have several cameras set up like out of sight and filming them. That way you just
almost like a reality TV
show
style.
That way they're just in Europe together, reliving this vacation, and they're just talking, they're just shooting the shit. They don't know when they're being filmed.
Because there's a couple scenes that almost felt that way.
Yeah.
Like when he was on like that balcony having a smoke, and he's talking about, have you ever felt like you're being thrust towards something? Like that was I mean that seemed more real in that one scene, but.
That was in the trailer for a reason because
that
was one of the genuine moments of actual acting he does. But
one
yeah,
of the decent scenes.
I felt if Clint Eastwood would have shot it that way to where they never know when the camera's on them, you would have gotten more natural out of them because it would just been three friends in Europe together, as opposed to like sticking a camera in their face and having them try to act as themselves.
I can tell you the scene that bugged me
let's talk about it on a different podcast.
Yeah,
we've tried to wrap this up like 5
Okay,
times.
I'll tell you off camera, but it was pretty rough.
So yeah, we're gonna end it there. So good night, everybody. Good night, Tokyo. We'll see you next week. There you go.
Jeez.